mic's on. There's the first joke of the night. I said, is the mic ready? He said, when I turn it on, I'm just chilling over here. And I'm standing here, everybody looks and gets quiet. That's cool. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. If anybody needs a chair, there's some on the front front row. That's the church joke. Nobody wants to sit in the front, but there's plenty of seats up front.
I didn't know you could.
Oh, yeah. Come on up.
No, I'm good.
Oh, you're good on the, okay. She didn't know she could sit in the front, but she doesn't want the front. So I want to say good evening to everybody. I'm Reverend Vanessa Cummings. I'm the former pastor of Payne Chapel AME Church here in Kenton. Most of you all met, well, some of y'all met me before. And the new pastor there is Reverend Deborah Chapman, who's our videographer tonight. And she's the new pastor at Payne Chapel, so I want everybody to meet her and greet her and welcome her the way y'all have welcomed me here. And I'm glad to be back to do this evening. Our program this evening is to inform everybody about the candidates, give you a chance to ask them questions, hear what they have to say. And you've got cards and pens in most of your chairs, and we ran out of pens, so some of you all have cards and you may have to share your pens. But you can, when we open the floor, you can ask questions, or if you want to write your questions down and pass them out, we can pick those up and ask the questions for you after we do that. And we have asked all the candidates to respond to questions, even those who are unopposed, and those who are unopposed volunteered to give their time to the candidates who are opposed. But Hardin County Talk's opinion is, even though they're unopposed, we still want to know who they are. We want to know what they have to say and what they have to offer. And we think that everybody should be able to be heard, so we're equal opportunity in that aspect. So we want to welcome all of the candidates this evening and thank you all for coming to participate. This is a great turnout from all of our candidates and a great turnout for all of you. And we are live streaming from the Payne Chapel AME Church Facebook page. So if you know people at home who are on Facebook and you want to send them a quick message and tell them to look for Payne Chapel in Kenton, they can follow us and watch this live stream tonight on Facebook. So we are live as it goes. So yeah, everything you say may and will be used in favor of you at the voting box. So for those who don't know, Hardin County Talks, we formed about 3 years ago. And we grew out of the Martin Luther King program here in the community. And our goal is to educate people about diversity, about issues dealing with race relations, human relations, and voter education and voter empowerment. We want to make sure that people in the county are talking. And that's where we got the name Hardin County Talks. So this is our second annual forum. So we thank you to this historical event. So let's give you all a hand. I'll recognize the members of the Hardin County Talks at the end so we can get on with everything that we're doing. I do want to thank our sponsors, Hardin County Democratic Party, the Hardin County Republican Party, AHEAD, Kenton Times, and Golden Graphics. So all of those folks have worked to support this event and make this happen this evening. We're going to have all of the candidates introduce themselves. Each will have 45 seconds. And they'll be able to state your name and state why you're running for the position that you're running for. We've got Maya here in the front. She's got time cards. Can all of you all see those? So she'll give you your 30 seconds, your 15 seconds, your 5 seconds, and your time's up. When your time's up, if you keep talking, the sound guy is just going to cut the mic off because he's friendly like that. So that way we can make sure we keep everybody moving. And we do want to thank John Seaman for providing sound for us this evening. So we will start off. I'll start on my far end, and that's City Council at that end. And then I believe we have the mayoral candidates next, down here. Okay, I was trying to see if we flow. Okay, well, y'all just start at that end and work down the way, and they'll figure out who you are and what you're running for. So at this time, your 45 seconds starts, and when you're finished, the next person starts, and we'll ask everybody to please hold your applause until all of the candidates have introduced themselves. That will allow us to be more efficient with our time. Thank you very much.
I'm Patty Reisner, and I'm running for council at large. And
can you pull that mic a little closer to you and turn it away from the other? Yeah.
Is that okay? Okay. My name is Patty Reisner, and I'm running for city council at large. The reason why I'm running is I've been on council, and I I love my community, and I want to see the things that have started to get finished. And so that's why I am running.
My name is Peggy Wren. I'm currently on City Council at large. I'm running for that seat again. And like Hattie, I love my community. I'm running because I've touted some things for the years that I've been on council, and things are starting. So I want to see us moving forward, continue to move forward. I've lived in Kenton since 1973, however many years that is. I've raised my family here. I do love this community. I believe it's a great place to work, play, and raise your family. And I want to see us grow.
My name is Tom Taylor. I live in Hardin County and been a resident now for about 45 years. We had the Brunson's restaurant uptown. I also work for Kid City School, so I understand both the aspect of ownership and also the union aspect of the side of things. I was on council. I've been on council twice. I was on once and moved out of town, then came back on it. Moved back into town and was on council another time. Ran for mayor. Lost by one vote to Mr. Hands. And so right now I'd like to continue back on to represent Hardin County. I'd like to make sure we stay fiscally responsible. I'd like to see a lot of the things cleaned up and everything back into place.
Hi, my name is Robin Jones, and I decided to run for the city council because Mr. Jim Heights kind of inspired me a couple years ago when I was just complaining all the time because I would see things that I thought maybe needed to step up a little level. And he said, you know, until you work like I do, I encourage you to become more involved. So I thought, you know, I'm going to take that as my inspiration. And I retired last year from the Kroger Company after 40 years where I was a department head, a trainer, traveled throughout Ohio training new employees. I have 35 years of union experience, so I think that could be helpful with contract negotiations for our police, fire, and city workers. I think we're in a great spot right now in Kenton, and I would just like to be a new face to bring that vision to fruition.
I'm gonna make this quick, John, so you don't have to worry about playing with your buttons back there. I am Antoella Davis. This is the end of my second term. I'm running unopposed for my third term, third ward seat. I wanted to be on the city council really for selfish reasons. I don't want my kids to leave Kenton. I want them to stay here. The best way to do that is to make the city better, to have new improvements in the city, better businesses, new businesses coming in the city. So again, it's just to keep my kids here and everybody else's.
Good evening, I'm Dave Beasley. I'm running unopposed to the second ward. This is my second time around on council. I ran as second ward council originally, and I served for a period of time as council president. It's just an opportunity to give back to the community, which is a great place. We are moving in some very positive directions, much of which you haven't seen yet because it's largely behind the scenes. And I look forward to continuing that work.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Joel Walthausen. I'm a candidate for council president. I've served in that capacity now for 7 years. Prior to that, I was a ward councilman for the first ward. And I am running again simply because I grew up here. And this is my home. I've lived in the city now all of my adult life. I really believe in the council president being that person to work between council and the administration and try to keep that relationship smooth. And I enjoy that task, and I really would like to do it for another 2 years. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Lynn Jones-Webb. I'm the Republican mayor candidate, and I thank you for this opportunity tonight to be able to engage with each and every one of you and to share my vision and my passion. I'm a lifelong citizen of Kenton, a graduate from Kenton High School, and I attended Bowling Green State University and graduated from Northwestern Business College with a business administration and marketing degree. After that, I went and worked at Honda of America Manufacturing for 31 years, where I was involved in leadership, problem solving, troubleshooting, future strategic planning. I retired 2 years ago, and I am so excited to jump in this race and be a great helper for our county and city.
My name is Joseph A. Horn. I'm a Democrat candidate for mayor, born and raised in Kenton, Ohio. I am a former council member. I served 2 terms from 84 through 87. I served on about every board that the council appointed me to. Served on every committee on the city council. I know what the council was like, and I've watched the administration when I was on council to see what was going on there and how it operated. And what I want to do to this community is turn it around for the better. And, do I have any more time? If you happen to see me get up and leave, I am on water pills now, so I may have to get up and leave.
Hi, I'm Tim Leffler. I'm the independent candidate. My biggest thing has always been this community. I was born and raised here. I've seen this community at one time, there was nobody couldn't make a living here. And most of you in this room are in that age range. You've seen the times that we've had in this town when anybody could make something go. And I look around and I think, what opportunities are our kids going to have if we don't start doing something to correct some of the things that's been let go? And we have to work harder than ever before, because we're fighting against cities with a lot more money, a lot more ability to get things done than we can. So we got to do everything we can to attract business and stuff in here, because I want my kids to have the opportunities I had. And you know, I was a local business owner, done well here. Everybody in Kenton, I always done well in this town. Thank you.
My name is Brian Hattery. I am currently serving as the auditor for the city of Kenton. I am running for re-election. I'm wrapping up my first term as auditor. I served for a few terms prior to that on council. Was part of the head of the finance committee for a while. I'm seeking re-election because I still want to continue to serve in this role, in this office as auditor for the city. I've lived pretty much my entire life here, and I'm raising 4 kids here. I want to continue to see this city progress, as many of the other candidates have said, in a positive direction, and I seek to do that for another 4 years. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Justin Dick. I'm running for Kenton City School Board. I was born and raised here. I'm in local law enforcement. I'm a volunteer firefighter. I decided to get involved because I was tired of just complaining and never listening. So best way to get resolution is to get involved, you know. So I believe the children are the base work of our foundation here in Hardin County. If we make good schools, that brings attention to businesses and things. People don't want to move to communities that schools are failing at. Hi, my name is Brandon Ledley. I'm a 1999 graduate of Ridgemont High School. I have 1 child in Kenton City Schools. I've lived and worked within the Kenton community for the past 16 years. I attend Kenton Church the Nazarene, where I play in the praise band, and I'm currently volunteering with the youth group at our church. I've just felt led within the past few years just to be part of a positive encouragement for the children, our students. I feel one of the best ways to get back to a community is to serve that community and to serve the schools. So that's why I chose to run.
Thank you. Let's give all of our candidates a hand. I forgot to ask everyone, please put your phones on silent or vibrate, unless you're going to sit them on something that's going to make more noise than the phone ringing when you vibrate. Also, for those who may need to know where the bathroom is located, you reminded me I did not give that piece of information. If anybody else needs to pay their water bill while you're here, you go out that door and then go to your right, and it's right across the hall from there. The men and women's rooms are right there. So if anybody else needs to do that, you can do that as well. And we did ask them to turn the temperature down in here some, because a lot of folks in here are doing like I'm doing and sweating. So we're trying to cool it down. So we're going to start off with questions. Each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to the question. And again, the timer will be here to let you know when your time is up. So we ask that you honor the time. We're going to start off with the school board candidates. So there's two, these are the only two, right? Okay, I just want to make sure I'm starting at the right place. I'll start on my left this time with Brandon, and then the same question will be for you, Justin. Since Kenton City Schools ranked 463 out of 608 school systems on the 2019 Ohio School District Report Card, what would you do to improve academic performance and ranking?
That's a good question. I feel that it probably just starts with just the staff and the teachers that we have, and keeping those teachers and staff that we have, building a solid relationship between them and the students and the administration. I think as long as we have that in place and keep focused on just encouraging our kids and our students with positive reinforcement and encouragement, I think that's a good place to start.
Okay. You got time left. Didn't know if you needed any more. You good?
I'm good.
Okay. Justin, same question. You need me to ask it again, or you got it?
Can you ask it again, please?
Yes. Since Kenton City Schools ranked 463 out of 608 school systems on the 2019 Ohio School District Report Card, what would you do to improve academic performance and ranking?
This is, I would take as a multi-tiered issue. It's not going to be just one issue in whole. We can't go to one teacher or one individual. It's going to be accountability across the board to everybody. That is not, it's not acceptable. So we need to work together to push the issues as to why we're having these issues. You know, like Brandon stated, over the last couple of years, we've had a high turnover rate with students, or with teachers, staff, and faculty. That is not acceptable. We got to find out why we're having such a high turnover rate. Then it's just because it comes down to making sure that we're meeting to state criteria and the everything that's set forth for us. It's just like any other job. If there's a standard that you must meet, then we must be meeting that standard. If we're not, then we need to figure out why. If people aren't, I want to say doing their jobs, but aren't meeting that standard, then is there a reason? Do we need to retrain? Do we need to look at other motives to find out why people are not, why we are not making those benchmarks?
Okay. Thank you. Our next set of questions are for the mayoral candidates. No? Yes, no. Auditor. I'm going down the table. Auditor is next. What are the specific areas of expertise you bring to the position of auditor?
Well, the position of auditor is all about finances, the accountability of the city in front of the state, pretty much. The bulk of the responsibility, a large part of what council does is to monitor how money is spent or decide how money is spent, along with administration. It's the duty of the auditor's office to ensure that that money is spent how it was passed by law to be spent. So, I mean, I'm an electrical engineer by trade and by education. So I bring, my expertise I bring is not having a fear of numbers, which a lot of people do. I also bring the experience I had with council like I said, 6 years on council, and then 4 years of that was head of the finance committee. So I have a background in numbers. I also have an MBA. So I do bring some fiscal and some business expertise to the office.
All right, thank you very much. Mayoral candidates. And we have the same question for everyone who's running for mayor. How do you plan to work with the city council to address infrastructure concerns, sidewalks, streets, gutters, water lines, truck traffic, etc.? Starting with my left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We came down this way when we introduced, we're going back the other way this time. Thank you.
All right. Well, a lot of that's another thing there's a lot of layers to that. Traffic's going to be a big issue when they start this downtown, and I know a lot of people are concerned about that. And that is going to be a feat for OHM and some of them to do our routing in the state. That's not going to be fun for anybody. It's going to be painful, but it's like anything else. When you do projects like this, there's no easy way to do them. Council, I think, for the most part, on most of the things with the downtown, they're trying their best to figure that out. The funding is going to be the fun part, because the funding is where it's going to come down to what we actually can get done. That funding is going to make the difference in what we do. And then there's places all over town that need stuff done with infrastructure. We have a lot of bad water lines and stuff that need replaced, things we should be working on and getting done for everybody. So we're going to have limited funds in the next few years, and we're going to have to figure out how to use them very wisely.
Okay.
Well, the traffic problem in Kenton, Ohio has been terrible for plenty of years, a lot of years. I know for a fact, even back when I was on council years ago, that they used to send people up here to do a traffic study. We don't need traffic studies done in the city of Kenton anymore. We need solutions. And the traffic light system is terrible. We need an update in it, a state-of-the-art if we could, to keep traffic moving. That's what traffic lights are for, to keep traffic moving, not to go from one traffic light to the next with two semis in front of you where you have to wait. So we need a solution. That's one big problem that we have. As far as the structures downtown, I'm pretty sure that everybody in this room knows that there's some structures downtown that need to come down because they are dangerous. People are going to get killed if they aren't removed. They're a hazard. And that 5 seconds is going to finish me off with that right there.
How do I plan to work with council on the infrastructure? Well, I believe over the past year and a half, I've attended every council meeting, and through that, I've also attended every monthly meeting with the OHM and the planning and design of the infrastructure, downtown revitalization. I've formed some good relationships with Joel. He's been at these meetings. It's about forming relationships and understanding and seeing where their expertise is and listening to them. And let's all come together as a team and collaborate and see what works best and how we can solve these problems. We're in a fantastic situation right now with our principal forgiveness for our downtown revitalization. I have all the respect and trust that we can with OHM because we have to. They did a fantastic job with Newark, Ohio. We can get this done, and our council already has been very active in pressing this forward. After 100 years, this needs fixed, and we need to do it now.
Thank you. Is that all the mayor candidates? Okay, I can't see the sign. You're fine. I just couldn't I didn't want to miss anybody. Okay, thank you. Next questions are for those running for city council. How do you plan to get buy-in? How do you plan to get buy-in from and participation of the community to support and possibly fund infrastructure improvements?
We have to make any improvement of the scale that we're talking about as transparent as possible. The way we get buy-in is doing that. That's tough because it's hard to get individuals to, number one, take the time out of their busy schedule, and number two, to be interested to come to council meetings. Because right now, the only public access on a regular basis folks have to the council and the administration are those twice a month council meetings. So the way that we get buy-in is we also have public meetings. We have events that showcase information that we're trying to get out. We have utilized Eats on the Street. We utilize any event in the downtown that we can to showcase what we need to do. And finally, we utilize the media. Thanks.
I'll go ahead and follow up and finish that answer, Joel, because I think we're on the same page there. The opportunity for the public to get the information as to what's going on exists. There are many avenues available, both through the council meetings, the public sessions with our engineers, which are publicized, and attending and listening to the meetings. The most damaging thing that is going on is the rumor mill. People believing what's happening or the discussions at the water cooler and not questioning those with the people who actually have the answers. If there's a question and you're concerned about something, ask the people who know and trust them to give you an honest answer. I don't think there's anything about this process which has proven to be untrue in the information that we have already disseminated and plan to continue.
Well, I hate to beat a dead cat, but there's, well, Dave, I thought you lost weight, but anyhow. No, basically, just like Joel and Dave said, we have to be honest with everybody. We are being honest with everybody. We're trying to get everybody on board with the same thing. I think everybody in this room wants the exact same things: clean water, working water, and flushing your toilets. So it's simple. It's what people want. We're doing it. We're just trying to find a great way to save a little bit of money doing it, plus get what we want at the end of the day, and let everybody know what's going on as it's happening. Pretty simple.
I'm not currently on city council, but I have been going to some city council meetings, trying to educate myself and talking with different people on council. We have a great opportunity for knowledge in our town. If we don't share, if they don't share, and we don't share our knowledge through media, through town meetings, and I've been coming to the city council meetings off and on for the last year, and there's a very small amount of people that attend the city council meetings. And I sat by one man a couple weeks ago, and he's like, I don't know what to say, I've never been here. Well, I mean, so that's the only avenue that we have to represent ourselves and to see, okay, this is an idea. Everybody has an idea. And like Antwilla said, everybody wants to see our town be the same. We want to see it grow. We want to see our children stay here. We want our town cleaned up. That's my big vision, is that our town needs to get cleaned up. I don't want to live in my house and across the road from me is somebody chopping cars into in town. I don't want to see it anymore. And if there's a problem with getting those removed, then we need to reach out to those people and say, how can we help you? What can we do as a community to make our community better? We can all sit back and complain. That was me to Mr. Heights. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to jump in and see what I can learn and see where I can go from here.
I think the big thing that we need to do is be informed, and it's a two-way street. If you need to ask your councilman what's going on, but the councilman also need to ask you what you feel and how you need to, and answer your questions. If you have a question, when I was on council before, somebody had a question for me, I took it to someone that, if I didn't know the answer, I took it to somebody that did know the answer. I gave quite a few questions to Mr. Heights, and he had to run down quite a few answers for me. But we have to be informed as to actually what's going on, and we have to maintain our ability to find out who can give us those answers. I know RCAP is a good example of somebody that can give us good answers on our sewer and water system and stuff like that. And if we follow some of the directions that have come up before, then I think we can fix the problems.
And I will follow up on what Joel and Dave said about transparency and giving the right answer to some. I've had a lot of people ask about the downtown, and we are starting with the downtown because that is some of the oldest infrastructures in the town. So it makes sense to start there with those. we just have to be open and honest and talk to people and be readily available to answer any questions that they have.
I wanted to say that anybody that knows me knows that I talk a lot more than what I did when I was first introducing myself. So I want to kind of start there and apologize for that. When you're number one to answer questions, it's like, oh my goodness. So, but anyway, I want to say ditto to what everybody else has said. We need to be transparent to our people. One of the things that I think really hurts our community is Facebook. I don't know about you guys, but that's where a lot of the rumors start, is with Facebook. And, excuse me, and also, if a person has a question or something, please bring it up to us. I'm amazed how when we come to council, there's a lot of times when it's just us. You know, we need our council full of people. You know, if you got a question or something, come and find out, be informed of what's going on. And I believe in our community, and one of the things that I'm sure our shop owners and stuff uptown are going to say is we need to start someplace, and what better place to start where people are coming in, and the square around that area is where people are going to come. And so that's what we need, is to get started in that part.
Thank you. Thank you very much. At this time, we're going to have Kenton Times come and ask a question. One of our sponsors, he's going to bring a question.
Thank you. This is for the mayoral candidates to start out with. Hardin County's Economic Development Director says industry is staying away from Kenton because of its high number of blighted properties. As mayor, how would you address that problem? And I guess we'll start with Joe, since he hasn't answered first yet. So.
You know, these questions tonight it really is a shame, because you only have 45 seconds or whatever it is to answer. It really takes a lot longer to
Don't complain
discuss
about
that.
that, just answer it.
One thing we have to do in this community, as far as I'm concerned, we have to get rid of what we call slumlords, okay? I don't know if they live in this vicinity or live in this town, but those have to go. It gets to the point where people, I don't think, really care how they live. Is, you know, they go into these homes. If the people that own them don't take care of and keep them up, they don't care either. They're just going to live there, and it's going to go downhill. We need to get legislation in order. If it's on the books, as far as cleanup and blighted areas, enforce it. If not, put some teeth into the legislation and get this problem solved, where we don't have this going on all the time. We have one thing we have to do, though. If we're going to promote this city, we have to clean it up, period. Okay? If we're going to promote this city, we have to have something to promote it with. We got to clean it up.
Amen, Joe.
Economic development is true about our blighted property and to bring new industry here. First and foremost, I believe we attack it, and I have been very active in pressing for the land bank to come to Hardin County. Just to share with you, that land bank takes that ahead of the sheriff's sale. So it kind of eliminates that slumlord from taking it. Then they can rehabilitate that house, or if it's beyond that, they can tear it down. That's federal money, that's state money, and it's private money. That's how that land bank's funded. Anybody wants to know more about the land bank, there'll be a meeting at the commissioner's office at Veterans Hall next Tuesday, election day, at 10 a.m. I am really pressing for this, but it is. We have to clean up our community. The second part of it, we have to find out the why. We have senior citizens. Let's find out why we're in this position. How can we help? We are a very giving and caring community. Oh, you're not there.
Okay, well, and this is one of our problems. I've dealt with it, especially in my ward. since my 2 years on council, I think I have around 7 burnout homes. And that's just burnout homes. That doesn't count all the ones that are sitting empty, that just nothing's being done with. And it's always been a problem talking about, even with the land bank, I know some people that haven't been real supportive of it because it takes more workers to take care of that property. Once we take it, we acquire it, then our city workers are having to maintain, mowing the grass, doing whatever. So it's kind of a vicious cycle. And one of my things I've been working on just here lately, I've been working on getting private individuals that can afford to buy these properties and sit on them. And we had one that bought 5 properties at the last sale, and they're tearing down the houses already. So, we have to look for those people that can really put the money in the community, that has it to be able to sit back and help, and they have the same goals in mind as we do. They want this town cleaned up also.
Okay, I get to ask a question of council candidates. So, in what order would you prioritize the city issues of repairing the streets, fixing the infrastructure, improving the parks, and improving the swimming pool? How would you prioritize those? And also, would you support a tax increase to help improve things? Where do you want to start at, Commander?
Pick the third. Start at the far end and come back this time.
Which way?
At the far end.
Patty, I guess you're number 1.
Okay. Okay, Tim, you said infrastructure, and what else was it? Parks?
Parks, swimming pool, and streets.
Okay. Okay. I think number 1 right now would be the infrastructure. Number 2 would be our streets. Number 3 would be our parks, and number 4 would be our swimming pool. And would I be in favor of a tax to have this done? I'm never in favor of taxes. I know what it's like to being a senior, to be able to pay taxes. And so I just recently retired, and so that would be a hardship, and I wouldn't want any hardships on our people.
Me next. I would say infrastructure is number 1. Streets, swimming pool, and parks. Infrastructure, we have not had work done on our infrastructure for years. So we have a lot of problems with water pressure, water main breaks, things like that. It's time to capitalize and to fix that particular thing, or we're going to run into bigger problems. Streets, our streets, we are coming up, I should say the present administration is coming up with a street program where they were doing so many streets per year. And that seems to be the best way that we can address the streets. I'll be quick. Swimming pool, our swimming pool, we haven't put a lot of money in the swimming pool for years. Swimming pool is a community service. We either need to fix it or close it, and I don't want to see that swimming pool get closed. Parks, the park board's been doing a great job working on the parks, and I applaud them for that. We just need to keep up with that. Thank you.
I am with them. Infrastructure's got to be the number 1 thing that we are working on now, especially the sewer and water. The downtown revitalization part, that sewer and water system has been in place since the 1860s, and it is desperately in need. I know I had somebody that was upset that their sewers weren't being addressed right away, and we were putting money into the downtown, which he said only helps 12 or 18 people, but I think our downtown is what our whole city is about, so I think we have to keep our downtown going, and I think it's a different world than it was before. We can't just go out and open up businesses and open up the doors and have people come in. It's a whole different world. Then we need to do our streets, keep up on them.
Swimming pool, I agree. I think that should be third because swimming pool is part of, what keeps the kids going in the summertime. And then our parks, I think we've done a good job with the parks here lately, so I think that's where we need to stay.
I would agree with the present council members that the infrastructure is the first thing that needs to be addressed, because I understand from talking with Mr. Heights about other things, we are very much in EPA violations and have been for many years. And if we don't take care of our infrastructure with the funding that we have currently, it's an amazing amount of money, and we lose that funding, we're going to be paying EPA for all the fines and violations that we are occurring now. So second of all, I would say streets, and maybe we need to look at, it's quick to always throw the city workers under the bus when things aren't done correctly, but are they trained correctly? Do they have the correct equipment? Are they given all the knowledge that they need to have to pass that knowledge on to the next person? Because knowledge is a great wealth. I worked at Kroger for 40 years, and if I had kept all my knowledge to myself, I could have never called in sick one day because nobody would know how to do my job. So I think that's very important to look at also. And third, I would rate the swimming pool also, because some children, that's all they have. That's their whole summer vacation. And I think the city of Kenton works hard to make sure there are passes available to children that can't afford to go to the pool. And so I think that's a great thing too. That says a lot about our community. And fourth would be Parks and Rec.
Am I good? Well, Tim, all right. Basically what everyone else said. Infrastructure, streets, pool, parks. I have a soft spot for the pool again. My baby's a swimmer. Here's the thing though. You asked about the tax levy, and I'm going to say yes. And here's why. I don't think people understand what a tax levy is, because I think we've done a poor job of explaining it. So a 0.5 half mil tax levy over 2 years is about $10 on your taxes every year for a $100,000 house. The medium house in Hardin County sells for $89,000. After this year, we're probably going to be at like $95,000. So $10, would you pay $10 a year for better services? Instead of us having to tell you no, there's no money in the budget, how many of you would come up to me right now and give me $10 so that we could fix a street, so we could blacktop a street? So I truly think that we're afraid of the word taxes, we're afraid of the word levy, but the truth is, it's not that scary and it's not that much when we all put our money together.
I would agree in large part. First, infrastructure needs to be completed before you do streets, because it happens underground and you want to have to dig it up and on top of it. So that makes logical sense. The pool has the potential to be a revenue-generating asset for us. In addition to the service and community welfare that has been mentioned previously, it has the potential to generate some revenue for us, and perhaps even more than it has been. Parks and Rec would then logically come at the end of that, which brings us then to Tim's question on taxes. And Tim, I appreciate you asking that. The good news is, council doesn't decide about taxes. Our voting public decides about taxes. We can present the options on ballots, but it's really their decision, as Antwala would suggest. What are you willing to pay for the services you desire?
Tough part about that question. I'll do all of them. The parks, the pool are assets that we have. We have to take care of them. They provide services, they provide opportunity for our residents. We don't have streets that are workable, that are drivable. We lose safety, we lose industry. We have damage to vehicles, we have accidents. Infrastructure, if we can't deliver water to our industries, to our households, if we can't take away sewage from our households, from our industries, we're not going to have the industry. So it is a vicious cycle. We have to do all of them. Fiscally, I have to prioritize infrastructure when those things come about. The other three, streets, parks, and pool, we need to learn to budget that on an ongoing basis. We need to learn to put money into streets every year. We need to grade the pavement and just sink it. We have to know that's a sunk cost that we have to have. Parks and the pool, we have to take care of what we own. So we do have to figure out a way to do it.
Thank you. At this time, we will open up for anyone in the audience who has a question, to ask a question. We do ask that all questions be respectful and that you be mindful of the people that you're asking. Let us know which group you're asking the question of, or if you're asking that of all the candidates. And if you have questions you want to write down, just wave your hand and we'll come get your card and we can read your question out. So does anybody have a question you want to ask? Yes, sir. Just, we got to, excuse me, I forgot to get a mic for. Since we're broadcasting, I want to make sure you can be heard.
Well, last week I was in my yard working, and I had a visitor, and she questioned why I had the sign in my yard that I had. And I said, I believe what he stands for. And she says, well, what's that? And I said, one thing, my candidate believes in getting jobs. And she says, well, the mayor has no control over that. The chamber does that. And what I want to know, does the chamber run the town, or does the council run the town?
Mayoral candidates. You want me to kick us started? You haven't gone first. Glenn.
Absolutely. I think in the way a lot of, I would say 99% of the cities are run, it isn't the chamber, it's economic development. And when we want to bring industry in, I've been to several regional growth planning, RCAP meetings, and the way they go about finding industry for communities is through site selectors. Site selectors in the 21st century is very computer generated. They have a listing, they go through and they rate it. We weren't on the map. We aren't on the map. But we do get a turn of the head with the knowledge that they hear that we are doing this $20 million project. That moved us up the list because it showed we had skin in the game. But yes, it is economic development is a crucial part of any city and any development, because that, through sunshine laws, it's very quiet. Any investor doesn't want anybody else to know what they're doing, what they're providing for.
Well, I believe that the council and the mayor's administration should work together as far as getting things done in this community. Me personally, I think it's their job. I think it's our job to take care of our city. Now, their recommendations may come up with things that they want to see improved, things that they might want us to do, and that's fine. Bring it to council, bring it to the mayor, and let us decide that. If I'm elected mayor, I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to be a puppet to any group or organization. I want to work for the people of this community, period. Okay? Finished.
Well, you know, we've had this discussion before, and I've been told I've stepped out of my place more than once. But I know I spent a year on council, got information from our governor and a couple other state representatives, give me leads on companies to go talk to. I've been to Maine, I've been to Massachusetts, I've been to New Jersey, I've been to Tennessee, talking to these companies looking to come to our area. And one of the biggest problems we had was our infrastructure. And I'm like, they like that we have the highways that we have, and they like that we have the rail systems. We have a lot of things to offer. We always have. And I know people have talked, and we've had other ones check here before, but they always said, Kenton has never been real receptive to industry in the last 25, 30 years. So that, to me, tells me we're not doing something right. And we need to get on the ball and be talking to these companies and doing, our biggest thing is we're overrunning our wastewater plant. It's only designed for 2.4 million gallons. When we get big rains because of the problem at the river, we're running over 30 million gallons at that plant. No company wants to come here until you can solve that problem. I'm done.
Okay. We have a question. Oh, I'm sorry.
The residents run the city, and they run the city by electing council members and the mayor, because we have to answer to you all.
Can you speak up a little?
I would just want to announce the residents run the city, the residents of Kenton. You run it from the grassroots by electing council members, by electing a mayor, and holding those people accountable. That's how the city's run. You got to hold us accountable.
And if other council candidates would like to respond to that question as well, you may. You're not required to, but if any of you all want to answer, you're not restricted. Anybody on the panel is open to answering if you'd like to.
What I would like to see moving forward is in our water bills that we get, I would like to know like the top 10 ordinance nuisance things that people are fined for, noxious weeds, trash, vacant cars. So that way, when that is, approached down the road next year, hopefully with stronger sense of these are our ordinances, this is what's been in place for this many years. Do they need tweaked? Do they need upgraded? And like Lynn Jones-Webb said, if there's a problem and there's somebody elderly and they can't remove their trash or they can't remove a car that's been there for 5 years, let's find that out. Let's put a number out there. Let's put that information out there. These are the things that are most violated. And you could probably tell us, Jim, what those are. I don't know what they are. I've asked Jim before, but how do we know what those things are to act on if nobody knows? So going forward there in your water bill, just like when it tells us when trick or treat is, when it tells us when to fall back, so we have knowledge.
Privacy rights.
But you don't have to tell the specific person, but you can say these are the things that are violated. What are the top 10 violations in the city of Kenton that are most addressed?
Okay, time on that. Thank you. Other council who'd like to?
I think that if going back to whether the mayor's running the city or the economic development office, I think you have to have both of them working together, because most of the businesses that we're attracting are outside of the city limits. They're affecting our city immensely, and our city plays a role immensely in who comes in to our county. But the city is the county seat, and this city is the one that has to present a good foot forward for that. So I think both the mayor and the economic development have to work hand in hand to bring new industry into town. And of course, you go on to clean up the city, you go on to provide good schools, you go on to provide good parks. These are all things that they are asking for, and these are all things that we as the city council and as the mayor candidates have to address. We have to put taxes out if we have to get that out. $10, like they said, is a small price to pay if we can get an industry into town that can bring in new jobs.
And I will just say, we do have a problem with blighted properties, burned out properties, rundown properties, things like that in the city. I have a problem spending taxpayers' money to take down a burned house that belongs to somebody else. And then if the city takes it down and spends taxpayers' money, that property still belongs to the person that didn't take care of it in the first place. So we need to find some other way to get those properties taken down, and this land bank might be a good solution to that problem. But I do have a problem spending taxpayers' money to take care of somebody else's property when the biggest share of us take care of our own properties ourselves. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. We have a question for the school board candidates. This is from, you have a question there as well? Okay. How would you establish standards for the schools and incentivize them to improve? And we'll start this time with Justin. Or did we start with you first before?
No, we gotta go. By standards of like policies and procedures, or?
Standards for improvement so that the schools can improve where they're scoring and improve their rankings, reducing turnover, those kinds of things. How would you establish standards for the schools? And then what would you do to incentivize them to achieve those goals?
We must figure out what the issues are at the root, and then we go from there. Once you figure out what a problem is, you can start addressing it. You can address it by creating new policies and procedures. You can address it by consequences and rewards. I mean, there's a multi-tier ways of going about it, but the root thing is you have to find out what the issue is. Why is it? Do we need to be held? Does everybody across the board need to be held accountable, from school board, superintendent to teachers? Does everybody need to be held accountable for making the more improvements? I would tend to say, yeah. I mean, if I'm on a board making decisions, then I need to be held accountable for what is going on, what is happening, and if we are not making these standards, then we need to be held accountable for not making those standards, and then push forward, make new policies, procedures, and such, just to make sure that we're meeting these standards.
Okay.
I think for me, personally, it'll just start with getting out into the schools and just talking with the teachers and the staff and the administration. I know for me personally, the more that I'm able to get out and learn and speaking with these teachers and staff and administration and all that, the more that I can then help to develop ideas and plans to build upon what's already in place. I think there again, that just all comes back to a lot of listening and just kind of stepping back and hearing what has to be said, and then sitting down and formulating plans or ideas. And for me, again, just a lot of positive reinforcement, positive encouragement to everybody, I think will go a long way.
Okay.
I think that'll tie into, that gives people incentive when you give them positive feedback and positive encouragement and have a solid foundation, so.
Thank you.
Can I add to that real fast?
We'll give you 15 seconds.
Add to that is no knee-jerk reactions. If there's an issue, you got to handle it appropriately, not just make a knee-jerk reaction and make a decision that can affect every child in the school or every parent negatively.
Okay. Okay, we've got some questions from the audience and have a card here. We're going to get to you. We'll come out there and then we'll come back to this. She's coming with the mic for you, ma'am. We've got your question and we've got one here. We've got your question over here.
School board members, one of the problems is the teachers can't do anything to the kids. And I personally think that some of the other schools in the districts and in Ohio have put in stricter rules that the kids can't run the room. And I did volunteer, so I know what I'm talking about.
So what is your question, or were you just making a point?
One of my question is, what could the school board do to help the teachers have control over their rooms?
Okay. Brandon.
I think a lot of that's probably going to be, I know there's certain regulations that the board has to follow, governed by the state and federal regulations, but I do agree with what you're concerned about as far as the teachers having more ability to take control of the classrooms if need be at a given time. So, but there again, that's just going to be a lot of looking what they're available or what they can do and not do, and then just looking into that and working toward the solution, so.
Comes down to support. If someone doesn't believe that they are being supported in one way or fashion or another, like if a teacher does take action in their classroom, do they have the support behind them administratively? Are they going to be set out to float on their own? I've heard this from other people, that they don't believe they have support within our administratives. I don't know that to be the case or not. I haven't been involved enough to know that deep. But support, Brandon's right. The board is hand-tied by regulations, but I think there's always ways to get around things. There's always loopholes to a sense. But the teachers are the ones in the rooms. They're the ones that should be able to, within reason, control their rooms.
Thank you. We have another question here for the school board. What is the number one attribute you appreciate in our schools, and what is the biggest weakness you believe needs to be addressed first? We'll start with Justin.
The biggest attribute about our schools is the family-oriented, the family style of school we have. We are very close-knit, we're very tight. When things go awry or things go wrong, there's always people there to help. If you need assistance, you need help, or family, I mean, take it through, look, in the past year, how many families, children's houses have burned, and people have came together families have came together to get clothing, places to stay, food, water, all that stuff. So we're a very tight-knit community and school, so I would think that's our biggest attribute. I think that might also be our weakest link too, because people like to think that they're always right, or people like to start the rumor mill. The Facebook can spread like wildfires in a small community like this. So once things start spreading and things get out of control and rumors and things, but people need to be informed, there needs to be transparency, and that would be, I think, probably our weakest link too.
Okay, Brandon?
I guess I would probably just have to agree with Justin in the fact that I think one of the strongest parts of our school and the school system is just the support that each other gives to one another, supporting other teachers, supporting the students, students supporting one another, building each other up through, whether that be through assistance or through help or just everyday encouragement, everyday just keeping things positive. But it all comes down to, like Justin said too, with families, just having good, solid, strong families that believe that what they're doing within the schools is working. I guess just me being honest and transparent, I don't really have a certain weakness to pinpoint or to point out. I think everything has a solid foundation that we just need to build upon. Everything's in place, and it's there, so.
All right. We had another question over here. Somebody was.
I do. So this is for the mayor candidates. Is this on? Yeah, okay. So if you plan on bringing manufacturing jobs to the city of Kenton, manufacturing, our industrial sites are located not in the city. So how would you plan on doing that when it's located out of the city limits? What's your incentive as a city to bring a manufacturing site in here? How will you go about rezoning things? And how are you going to deal with the sunshine law, being a public official? There's a few questions there.
Well, can you summarize that
Yes, so as a mayor, how would you work with economic development to bring a manufacturer here? And you talk about bringing jobs into the city of Kenton, where we don't have any industrial sites in the city of Kenton. We have no spec buildings to bring a manufacturer here. And how would you work with the Sunshine Law as you say that you're going to bring jobs in? How would you work with doing that, all those moving pieces on your own?
Okay, so the Sunshine Law, are you referring to the public meetings? That's what the
So Sunshine Law,
is a
economic
reference to.
development. So no manufacturer is going to talk to a public official. They keep that under wraps. So say Honda wants to come here. They're going to come to economic development, maybe, and work through that. And it's all kept very confidential. The moment that it's leaked, they go, we are out of here, and it's happened. I've seen it happen. Not here, but I've seen it in other communities, and it gets leaked. So the days of going knocking on doors to manufacturers saying, hey, we want you, it doesn't work that way through the city. There is a thing called a Sunshine Law. They work through site selectors. Those site selectors work with economic development. So I'm just asking the question, how does the mayor candidates think they're going to get manufacturing jobs here to the city of Kenton when in the city there's no industrial sites? What's your incentive?
I'm assuming that's directed more towards me, but.
It's directed to all three of you.
But for one thing.
I was going to answer, why would anybody be afraid to come to council or come to the administration and bring up an idea, Sunshine Law or not? I mean, why wouldn't they come to council and bring their idea of manufacturing and what their needs were? If the old Rockwell plant out here that's laid empty for, 10 years maybe, it's been devastated, been leveled. If somebody come in there and wanted to open up a business, if they wanted water and sewer run out to them, we'd be more than happy to do it if it's going to create 500-600 jobs. Because that's about what we lost when Rockwell moved out. We lost about 500 or 600 jobs that hurt our tax base. You know, I don't see a problem with people wanting to come to the administration or council and discussing that.
Rockwell already has water and sewer, and it's not in the city limits.
Well, any place then.
Okay. All right, we want to make sure we keep the questions focused here. We understand you all have some feedback, but we want to make sure we allow them all to answer the questions fairly. And then if there's a follow-up question, we can take a follow-up question, okay? That way we make sure everybody gets an opportunity to answer.
Sure. Once again, which I know it seems to be a falsehood, I met with a company from Seoul, South Korea, come here. And I met them in North Carolina. So to say that nobody can get in these doors and talk to these people, I talked to a couple different plastic companies that I went and met with. It's not, I think people try to think there's a big bow around it nobody else can open. But the God's honest truth is places that are looking to expand are looking for people that are willing to work with them and try to improve and develop. You got to give them good water. You got to give them sewer. These are the things they're looking for. They look for highways, railways, and these things that they're looking for. Yeah, you don't go broadcasting who you talk to, where the properties you're looking at. And there is property adjoining the city, a couple different ones that are willing to sell only for economic development. And those would be something you would rezone and try to get into the city since it's adjoining. So I have done this footwork myself. So. And anybody has any questions later, ask me. I'll give you my cell phone number. Always accessible.
I think as the mayor, we have to be very collaborative. And that's in a relationship not only with economic development, but also with township trustees, the county. It's a very jigsaw-y puzzle with a lot of moving parts. Everybody has to be in a good place. We have to zone it. We've already had that incident with the Cessna Township where we lost that. I think that was a high-paying job. Those are the jobs we need to have, jobs that will sustain good income or challenge some of these other industries to up their pay. But we can't let go of a company that wants to provide good jobs and just be dictated by the townships. We have to come together and look how we can do it together. But as far as, Rockwell, and that's a brownfield out there, it's privately owned, and right now it's a laydown area for the solar, or for the wind farms, and they're making a lot of nice money off of it, so.
All right. Have another question that was submitted, this one specifically for Mr. Leffler. You said an individual bought 5 properties at the sheriff's sale. He's in the process of tearing the homes down. What is he planning on doing with the land or lots?
I think some of them are probably going to put some homes on, or, some new buildings. I wouldn't say all of them. It just depends on how, I can't remember how the layout is. Some may be big enough to make double lots. I don't know. But, right now when we have such limited funds, and getting match funds has been, one of those things we haven't really kind of made plans or preparations for. We don't set money aside to every other year we could get match funds to take care of blighted properties. But then on the other hand, we have, just like some of them said, people retain the property as ownership, but yet we end up having to take care of mowing it. Our employees are maintaining these properties because we'll clean them up, tear them down, and there's some that they did, and we're still mowing them. And, you're issuing citations to somebody that's never going to pay those. So you just try to figure out the best way you can. It ain't always perfect, but reaching out and trying to get other people involved in the community that care, that's the best we can do right now. And if we can get money for it, I'll be glad. If we can get a land bank going, I'll be glad. But until those things come out, we have to do what we can.
Okay, thank you. This next question, they didn't specify. I'm going to make a decision. I believe this would be reference to the city council members. Will our city water and wastewater plants be able to handle and/or accommodate new factories after the downtown project? And if not, how long will it be before they are repaired? Where are we starting?
This is more a technical question, Joel. You would have the most information on this. This is a yes or no.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. I thought I would be great tonight. Look at me being kind.
As far as will they be able to handle it as a result of the downtown project, part of the downtown project, and it's not just the downtown
project, part of the infrastructure project, the first phase of it, there's a phase 2 and there's going to be multiple phases, is to make the, especially treatment plant, sewer treatment plant, more efficient. Right now, we're treating way too much water. Rainwater, infiltrated water from water that we ourselves produce. So the project makes the sewer plant more efficient. Do our 2 plants have the capacity to handle more industry? Absolutely. The change in the infrastructure or improving the infrastructure in this 9-block area won't create a need for more water. And it will create, or it will make it to where we're treating less volume of sewage.
Are there others who would like to answer that? That's sort of, okay.
I think that Joel's quite right that this, we have to start with the most important thing and go on down. And the more we do, the more we'll be able to handle anything that comes around. But we also have to know that we have to maintain everything else that we have. We have to keep up on our water plant. We have to keep up on our sewer plant. We have to make sure that we have the funds coming in to handle any situation that would come up. And I think, the rates are, a lot of times you have to balance the rates between the sewer and the water because sometimes the water needs less money than the sewer, so you can go back and forth, but you can't take money from the city and put it into the sewer and water because the sewer and water are a standalone project. They can't, it's something that has to run on its own self-generated funds.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Just to take
more than 45 seconds to answer, but anybody...
Actually, you all have 1 minute on these questions. We've been giving you all 1 minute.
It's probably going to take longer than that. But for those of you that remember years ago, I was on council when it first came up about redoing our waste treatment plant, okay? And like I said, it's a long story, and it's going to take a while to explain it. So anybody here that wants to know anything about that problem that we have with our waste treatment plant, I'll just give you a little hint about it, is this. When it was built, we were told that it would handle the city the size of Lima, okay? Does that tell you anything? That's what we were told. And things went downhill after that because I read in the newspaper one evening where our former mayor, he deceased now, Gary Risser, had, well, like I said, it's going to take longer than 15 seconds. But he made a comment in the newspaper at a council meeting or something that the people that hauled septic tanks or clean septic tanks could no longer dump down there because it wouldn't handle it. And that sent the red flag up with me, and I wasn't even on the council then. I just a resident. That sent the red flag up to me and says something's wrong. So it's got to be fixed down there. There's more to it. If you want to know about it, I'll talk to you afterwards.
I guess that meant your time was up. I'm just kidding. Yes.
Well, I'll elaborate a little bit on what Joe's saying. I know, of course, we passed the project to do this project downtown. And of course, I was the one no vote on that. And, my thing was we're putting like all our eggs in one basket was my feeling. We're putting $20 million in an area that I believe will probably cause maybe a 10% reduction in our wastewater plant that was designed for 2.4 million gallons. We run right around 3 million gallons a day through it. But when we get rain, we run over 30 million gallons through that plant. The water temperature changes at the river when it starts getting into our sanitary sewer. So we know we have a problem at the river with that 52-inch ductile main that runs across. And that is a problem, and it's not going to be a cheap fix. And my biggest concern was that's going to be a problem for the taxpayers because we're taking out a 30-year loan, and there's no easy way to do it. And at this point, we got to control the spending on the downtown. We have a lot of big issues that are going to come up because when you dig in the ground, you never know what you're going to find. And that's always a major deal.
I'll respond to that. The downtown project, also known as hopefully we can, I like a rename of We Dig Kenton since 9% is underground. This is a huge, huge project that has been kicked down the road over and over again. If we step away from it now, it will only multiply. We sit on 22 EPA violations as of right now for that. If we pass up this EPA money that is total loan forgiveness, $1.445 million, plus we have a $500,000 grant, the city might be in phase one for $500,000, but we have to do this. It's not if we talk about giving our kids and grandkids something, this has to be done. Our sewer plant is paid off this year. This is prime time to move forward.
Thank you very much. I have a question for our auditor. Yeah, you've been sitting there chilling.
Well, you're going to have to answer 2 or 3.
As auditor, does the city's current tax rate meet the needs to efficiently run day-to-day and long-term planning, day-to-day operations and long-term planning?
It's a very good question. It's an interesting one because it has changed over time. I mean, everybody remembers in 2009 when the entire country, if not the entire world, went through an economic downturn. We've struggled with a balanced budget and income, revenues versus expenses every year since then. Fortunately, I mean, not only for our city, but for the whole country, it seems we've progressively gotten the revenues have increased. Things have gotten better every year since then. This year, we're looking at the budget for next year at the Finance Committee meeting we just had yesterday, and it's looking very promising. The income income taxes, the revenues received from income taxes has increased steadily, but what we're now also getting, but it's been stagnant. And I think and anybody can realize we don't have another big Arvin Meritor that has come in or anything like that, but it's been stagnant for the past few years. But what we do have is the local government funds from the state have come in again. They've decided to do that, and the gas tax has come in. And normally we supplement and fund like the Recreation, Parks and Recs Fund and the Streets Fund from the general. Well, because the gas tax has come in it goes directly into the street fund, that eases the burden that we have in our general fund to be able to pay for the services such as fire, police, and streets, which take up 75% of the budget, are those services that we provide. So we've seen some relief, and we've also seen a lot of relief now that the fire department has been doing EMS runs. That has brought income into the city to help provide for their expenses. So right now, going into the future, it looks very positive.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
I've got a question for the mayoral candidates. The naming of a safety service director is a big decision for a new mayor. Can you talk about your choice for a safety service director, and what will the responsibilities of that person be in your administration? Lynn, why don't you go ahead and do it first?
Great. Yes. Before, when I was considering running, I knew that is the number one appointment. Here's the fact. It's a part-time job. The mayor is what it's paid as. I would be full-time, but my safety service director appointment is crucial. I think with the $20 million project, it was crucial to land that person with an engineering degree. They have an engineering degree, they have a master's in business administration, and they have worked with corporate, and they travel the country managing many places and many engineering departments. I think it will be a great fit for our community.
Ready? I have a couple of people lined up that I've talked to about taking safety service director job. One right off the bat is I'm hoping that if I get elected, he does take the job because he knows the city well. He doesn't need an engineering degree. He knows where everything's at. He knows how this town operates. He retired from the city, and I'm hopeful that he'll take the job. And but other than that, that's all I've got to say about my selection.
What are the responsibilities of that person?
Well, his responsibility is going to be to work with me, with everybody else in the administration that has to take care of whether it be the police department, fire department, city workers, everybody. That's going to be his responsibility. I'm going to work right along with him.
And one of my things is, too many times we've seen too many people pick their friends, their buddies, or people they know, and all you hear is complaints. It doesn't matter whether they do a good job or a bad job, everybody complains about the safety director. Probably the guy with the biggest knots on him because he gets beat up all the time. So you need somebody that's got to be really thick-skinned. It's got to be somebody that can take authority and run departments. They have to be able to, there may be some people that need fired from time to time. There are people that need reprimanded for whatever reason. And it has to be somebody with a good knowledge of things underground. We got a major project coming up, and we all know how contractors work. Contractors will cut a corner every time they get a chance if there's nobody watching over them, especially when you're talking that kind of money. So we have to have somebody that, an engineer is one thing, but a civil engineer is another. And that's what we got to have. We have to have someone that knows what's going on under the ground, because that's what's going to cost us dearly.
Send your resume in.
All right. Thank you. We have a question. Is there a nuisance law in this town? And if so, is it enforced? I know that's probably a yes or no and a yes or no, but is there one and is it enforced? I asked that question first. Does anybody know?
Yes, lots of them.
Okay. So the question, I'm going to paraphrase the question so that everybody running for council is able to answer this question as well. If the nuisance law is being enforced, what are you going to do to make sure it's more equitably enforced so people don't wonder whether or not it is being enforced?
I think it's information and knowledge. I mean, in the last couple of years that I was talking to Mr. Heights about problems at my home, I think we need a little forward thinking on some situations too. Like if you're picking up sticks and you're the city worker, throw a shovel in the back of your truck and clean up those storm drains on that city. Document that. I just think that we need more supervision. We need more accountability. And that doesn't mean just throw you under the bus, but what do you really know about your job? What do you want to know about your job? And are you the right person for this job if it's all laid out for you? I think there's many nuisance laws in Kenton, and I've talked to those with Mr. Heights, and I think it's a process of getting those enforced because it seems like it's the same offenders a lot of the times, and if they have 30 days to mow their yard, they mow it on 29 and a half with a light on their head in the middle of the night. You know, I don't know. So what do we do to get better with those people? I think it's been stagnant for a long time. So I think it's okay. Well, it's okay. I didn't do it last year, so I'm not going to do it this year. So that's where accountability comes into with your safety service director also. And a team, like you have a great city council. I've been going to city council meetings. You have a great city council. I think it's all people working together to make those things happen.
Okay. Others? Council members? Yes, ma'am.
We do have nuisance abatement laws, and those are enforced, but there's only so much that can be done with the way they are now. So maybe there needs to be more skin put in it. You know, maybe people need to have fines to make them more accountable. I don't know what it is. That's something perhaps we'll look at in the future.
Other council candidates? Go ahead, sir.
But then again, you come up with the fines and you fine these people and they don't pay. So it goes on their taxes, and so
They don't pay those.
they don't pay those taxes either. So that's why you see 2 pages of unpaid taxes in the newspaper. You know, so I think we need to figure out. I think the land bank is one of the things, one of the tools that we need to look into, and I definitely will be at that meeting Tuesday to find out more about this land bank project.
I agree with what he just said. We have all of these things in place, but we have people who just, they don't care. You know, they just go ahead and they say, okay, fine me. Well, you know, it gets put on their taxes, and then they don't pay their taxes, and it's like a catch-22. And excuse me, we do need to relook at this and figure out what we're going to do. But this is something that needs to be done. I wholeheartedly agree. I live in the 4th Ward, and I see things that I need to address. But I just think that people. When we go and we just put it back on their taxes, that's not being done. People are ignoring, and so we need to come up with something stronger. And I think this is something that we need to look at as a council.
Real quick, I just want to say, first off, Jim Heights is one man, and he is our current safety service director, and we do have nuisance ordinances, and we thank you for that.
Don't speak about Jim.
I shouldn't talk bad about Jim. We do have different nuisance ordinances. We have quite a few of them. It takes multiple people to enforce them. We have certain police officers that do them. We have to pay them. There's overtime involved. We are working on solutions. It's like Joel's favorite ordinance, the cats. You can't have 37 of them out on your front porch. But we have people who do. So we are working on it. It's a constant progress, and just remember to kind of bear with us here, because like I said, we have rules we have to follow. They are ordinances, they are laws. We have our own restrictions on those. You just can't go out and tell people they have to do it tomorrow and they have to pay a fee today. It's not how it works. There's a process.
That's right.
I would just add that enforcement of the nuisance laws in the end is up to the mayor's office. What council can do is provide fiscal support and a legislative support as far as research and initiative onto making our existing code more restrictive while still balancing that with people's rights.
I'd like to jump in on the nuisance. I think the very first thing that I would do if I'm elected is address our trash collection problem. We have a trash problem. Drive around, there's a lot of trash bags behind people's houses, thrown out. They don't use the city trash bags because they're too expensive. $1.32 for a large trash bag is way too much money. That's not where it goes. Hefty, a name brand, is only 32 cents. Our contract will be up with Solid Waste District. I've met with them several times. We're trying to get a meeting with them soon to discuss how we can get around this trash problem to make it better for our citizens to get rid of their trash, and whether it's unlimited, whether they can throw, hey, do you have a chair? Put it out there, collect it. Let's clean up our town a simple way. Let's get away from the pay to play. It was good 20 years. I think there's only one other community in the state of Ohio that uses pay to throw trash.
We got a question over here from one of our guests.
Okay, this is not a bullying question or anything like that, but for the school board, is it just Brandon and Justin, or is Katie? This is as quiet as I've ever heard Katie ever. But is she running? Is she not running?
She's not running. Correct?
Correct.
Correct.
I can make a better, I can serve our community better by stepping away from the school board and being an advocate for the community voice.
Okay. Hallelujah.
Katie's name, she has, from the Board of Elections, she has announced that she does not want to run, but her name will still be on the ballot. She filed, she was accepted, and it's too late to withdraw her name, so her name will be on the ballot.
It just goes back and forth. I was confused.
Yeah, no, it will be on the ballot.
You didn't look on Facebook. You asked the question of the person. Amen. I give you a hand. Yeah, amen. Thank you. Thank you. You have a question here.
Yeah, this is directed toward the mayors and also council. Getting back to bringing in possible business prospects or industry. You mentioned there was sites that were borderline with the city and outside the city corporation limit. Okay, two questions. What do you expect of your county commissioners in this relationship? And how would you go about working with them and encouraging new industry and new business to come into this county?
I like to think I have a good relationship with them. I've always went and talked to them since I've been in. Why there's always been a disconnect, I've never understood. I mean, they look like they'd give you a hard time, but they've been pretty good to me, so. And I think we should all work together. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Joe Schmo down the road. If he's got an idea or he has somebody he can put us in line with to help us in this community, you use all your available people. Everybody's an asset in one way or another. Don't matter if it's your neighbor that helps the older man across the street rake the leaves to the city crew that goes out in 8-degree weather and fix a broken water main. These are assets to us, and every asset that we can use, we need to, because we're not a rich community. We don't have money just to burn. And to work on getting industrial jobs in here, you got to work with anybody that's willing to, either put skin in the game or just work and try to get along with everybody and make it work.
Amen.
Preach it, brother.
Hey, I agree with you, 100%.
I do believe that collaboration is the key. We are very fortunate to have 3 excellent commissioners that do all they can and look for outstanding ways to get money. Just landing the wind farm and the solar farm will do great things for our county. They are very, how do I put it? They will always offer their help. I mean, through their county engineer to help the city out. I think that relationship always has to be strong. Once again, the courthouse, that big, beautiful building sits right in the middle of Kenton. So it's a good bargaining tool, I guess we could go with. But I appreciate all that they've done and the service they've provided for all of us.
I think there are things that the city and the county need to work on. Definitely when it talks about bringing in new industry, there are tax incentives that are available that you can give to industry to bring them in. There is, for the city, could be maybe some water and sewer rate reductions for a time period as an incentive to bring them into the county and to provide jobs. And I think if we can get that industry in, those reductions that we have will be more than outweighed by the people that get jobs and will be paying taxes and taken off of the unemployment rate rules.
I'll go ahead and weigh in here if it's all right. Bob, appreciate the question there. One of the things that we need to recognize and embrace is that when the city wins, the county wins. When the county wins, the city wins. And likewise on the other governing bodies within the county, when Hardin County wins, we all win. It may not be as direct as it might be if it's right here in my backyard, but when one portion of the county or a city wins, we all win. We need to recognize that a lot more than we do.
Thank you. We've got a question I think has been answered, but I'm going to share it, so if there's a piece of it that's still not answered, all of you all that are city or mayoral candidates can answer. Can the city put a time limit on landowners to demolish unsafe structures or take the property and list it as unsafe and a public hazard?
I think that would be a better question for our law director.
I was going to say, that's a John Schwimmer question,
Yeah.
and he's not here tonight.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, thank you for that. Next question we received is for Mr. Leffler. The question is, why did you vote no on Phase 1 when it's water and sewer?
No, the whole project, actually, I was kind of opposed to it because I knew that's really, we should have done a good study first and knew where our major problem was, which just by the information we get just from our own records from out to the wastewater plant, temperature and water, the amount of water that's coming to that plant when the rain comes down, river goes up, we're jumping 30 million gallons. You can't flow that much water through the two 15-inch mains that come out of the downtown. Most everything downtown comes into two 15-inch round concrete mains, and there's some collapsed, there's some broken, there's some egg-shaped, but you can't flow that much water through those lines downtown. You got to remember those lines are being used too. My thing was we needed a broader scope to know where to really start first and have priorities, because we teach our kids every day, you take care of your needs first, your wants later. Now my thing is do our best to make sure that we keep cost under control, because this project started, so we have to do the best we can with it.
Okay. Do we have other questions from the audience? Yes, sir. She's coming to bring the mic over for you.
Thank you. Earlier this evening, there was a question about infrastructure, parks, streets, and swimming pool, and about taxes to cover those. Would they would any of the city council agree to increasing taxes? Well, 3 didn't answer that. 2 were not definitive. 1 said no, and another said yes. The one that said yes, Ms. Davis,
Yep.
she said, would you go and give me $10 to do this? Now, that was very unfair of you to say something like that. For one thing, our tax, there's 15 line items on that. So let's just add another tax item to it. Is that what you're saying?
It goes on your property tax.
Yeah, I know. You got 50. It's divided up 15 different ways. So that was very unfair. And then
Can you, for the sake of time, we need you to ask your question.
the question is, why is 3 not answering that question? And they was the only ones that answered it was definitively was Davis and Reisner. The other 5,
So you
Mr.
want to,
Beasley and Mr. Althauser kind of beat around the bush about it.
so are you
The other
asking
3 didn't
them
even
to-
answer. So I want to know where you stand on that.
Sir, I didn't answer that part.
Okay, well, you led us to believe it, you did, in a way you're structuring what you're saying. So
Okay.
are you in favor of raising taxes? Now, I want to say this before you do that.
Wait, Sir, if you can, just limit it to the question because we got a timeline we're trying to meet and honor. So just ask if your question is where they stand on that, you can ask that specifically and ask.
Yeah, where do you stand on that?
Okay.
As the question was asked.
Four items,
Thank
the 4 items that were listed, ongoing maintenance of those items, ongoing keeping them up, I would not be in favor of taxes. I would remind you, I don't vote unless there's a tie.
I understand that. Mr. Beasley?
I think I did answer it, and I'll tell you again that council does not possess the ability to levy taxes without voter approval. So it's not our decision, it's your decision as to whether or
Exactly.
not you want to pay for these additional services.
I did not present on the timer, but I would answer that. I agree that we have to bring any tax incentives to the people and see if they really want to pay for it or not. We did that once for the streets with the license plate. They voted it down at one time. But if there is a need that is out there for the community that we have to put taxes on for, I am fully in favor of going and asking the people for that money.
And I didn't answer because I ran out of time too, but I'm not in favor of any taxes, but sometimes it is a necessity. If it's a necessity for infrastructure and streets, we would put it before the people.
And if it's okay, I would like to respond to what you said. What I simply stated was a tax levy is not explained to people correctly. It would cost, if we had a tax levy, which is $500,000 over 2 years, it's approximately $10 per household, per $100,000 house. Most of our houses are around 92-ish thousand. So it would be less than that a year. And if you have people coming to you every day saying, we need to fix streets, this, and if we don't have that money, I said, most people in here, and there were a few people that raised their hands, would be willing to pay $10, but they think that it's $10 a week, or it is so much more percentage out of their paycheck. It is $10 a year. And I think if more people understood that it was not such a large amount of money, they would be more willing to do that for better roads.
We have time for 1 or 2 more questions if we have any others. Yes, sir.
I haven't heard anything mentioned about this, but, and I don't know a lot about it, but maybe some of you could think about it. I know one business was turned down recently because township trustees wouldn't accept it. And I was wondering, can the city of Kenton, maybe working with other governmental units, set up some kind of industrial park or parks where the land is already available for industries that want to come in? Do we have any industrial parks in our county?
We can start with council at that end. You can just answer if we have that, if we don't, if you would be in favor of it.
Okay, I'm not sure if we do or not, but I would be in favor of it.
We do have an industrial complex out on 68 South. I don't know if it's industrial park or not, but that's where a lot of industry is. Do we need other sites? Yes, we do.
As to whether the city of Kenton can set that up, I do not believe that we can. We can work with the county and do everything we can to support it, but most of the industrial sites that would be available are outside of the city of Kenton. And so we, as the city council or as the mayor or anything, have no jurisdiction on anything but what is inside the city.
Any others who want to add into that?
We do have Buck Industrial Park out on the south side of 68, right up the road from me. That's been there for years, and we haven't had anything stick real well, it doesn't seem like, but we keep trying. I know that's one of the things, and I know the commissioners have probably noted, I've talked to all the business around. I've even been to Ada, because I look at all these that are around close to us, even if they're not in the city, we need to try to keep what we have. We need to work with these people, and if there's anything we can do to help them, because it doesn't matter if it's in the city or not. I've had great relationship talking to the commissioners and stuff. They've always welcomed me, and the businesses all around in town and out of town. I've always had people be receptive. And, I've helped a couple of them, give them leads for things that they were looking at. And to me, we all need to work together. It doesn't matter what it is. This community isn't just right here in the city. You talk to people that live 10 miles out, where do they live? They tell you Kenton. That's the way we always was. We was born and raised in Kenton. We've been here all our lives. So that's kind of my feeling on that matter.
Okay.
I'd like the issue that you're talking about, Charles, when Cessna Township wasn't approved for that zoning. We have the industrial park out on 68, but it was a nice, unique piece of property for Cessna Township because of that railroad. And they could use it. And what happens a lot of times is we don't have the right facts put out there. We get into fear tactics and, it's hazardous material and all this. The amount of trucks and the trains that go through our city every single day hauls more hazardous chemicals and waste than the brothers ever thought of putting out there. And they did their homework. It's a good business that would have brought great paying jobs here. We have to continue to work with the townships and to get our people to understand really what this is all about. We can't be held landlocked by the agricultural society, so to speak. Can we work with them? Yes, we can, but we can't be landlocked.
Thank you. Any others that want to? Okay, at this time, we're going to go to closing remarks. We told everyone this would be from 6 to 8, so we're trying to be honorable of your time. And we want to thank all of you for all the questions that you've asked. You have been very actively involved and have a lot of concern for the community. So we thank you for that. All the candidates will give a closing statement, and you have 30 seconds. So we gave you a whole bunch of time for this. So I just say use it wisely, talk quickly and efficiently and effectively, and make sure you let them know who you are so that they know to vote for you. And we'll start here with Brandon.
Oh, of course. All right, Brandon Ledley for school board, and I just want to say I appreciate all the support that's been out there, everybody's encouragement, and I just hope to be able to serve the community proudly and serve Kenton City Schools to the best of my ability, and proudly to make the school and the students and staff administration just a great place to continue to work and to thrive.
Thank you. We'll ask if you hold your applause to the end so we can get our 30 seconds done. Well done, though. I'm sorry I didn't say that.
Again, I'm Justin Dick. I'm the write-in candidate for Kenton City School Board.
as everybody has stated up here, we're all in this together. We got to make this work together. So I want to get in, dive headfirst into it, start working with everybody, work with everybody that's already there, work with the board members already there, staff, teachers, everybody, to get brought up to speed, to be able to make informed decisions, work along with everybody else, and then just to make everything go smoothly and to keep pushing forward to make our children better.
Again, I'm Brian Hattery. I am running unopposed, and I think even the other candidates who are running unopposed, we would still ask for and appreciate your vote, your support when you go to vote. I know I always have that question in my mind, they don't need that, but I am asking for your vote still. I want to take this 15 seconds to thank my staff. I have a staff of 2 who runs the daily operations. They are fantastic, and the city of Kenton would not run efficiently fiscally unless I had them. So to Doris and Pam, I say thank you very much.
I'm Tim Leffler, candidate for mayor. I appreciate the opportunity to get a run for this office. I want to give something back to the community because the community has always been good to me. You know, I look around and I see a lot of faces here that I've grown up with and seen a lot of these people that are, they've had their whole lives here and they want to have their kids, their families, and have something here too someday. And that's all I want. I want something better for our generation of kids that's coming up.
Basically, what I want to say is I would appreciate your vote, Joe Hord, between now and November 5th. But basically, what I picked up tonight on was finances. I want everybody to know that ever since the state of Ohio started cutting our state funding, for the last 8 years, we've lost an average of $370,000 countywide. Now, you divide that up amongst all the people in the villages and the townships, that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it could mean something to everybody. I would like to see those funds extracted from our rainy day because the rainy day is here.
Lynn Jones Webb, the Republican candidate. I appreciate this opportunity to be able to engage with each and every one of you. As we press into this 21st century, it's for the oldest to the youngest, and we are all in to bring forth this community that, you know what, God doesn't make a mistake, and I really believe He is going to rise this community up to be an example to many around us. Vote Lynn Jones Webb, November 5th.
Joel Althauser, candidate for City Council President. I just want to thank everyone for coming here tonight. Wonderful opportunity for all of us to speak in front of you, to field your questions. We need more of this. And please go vote. I am so glad to see a contested mayoral race. I'm so glad to see folks running for council, because I'll tell you what, that's one of the toughest jobs that I guess I kind of put on myself, is getting people to run. It's tough. We need people to be engaged and to run. So thank you again, and God bless everybody here.
Dave Beasley, 2nd Ward Council. I again will echo what Joel said. I appreciate the fact that you were interested enough to come out tonight. You've accomplished largely phase 1 of the process, get informed. Phase 2 begins today if you haven't already voted, through next Tuesday. Please get out and vote. We appreciate your interest in what goes on in Hardin County.
Antwalla Davis, 3rd Ward Council member. Thank you guys, thank you for inviting us. This is my first year. I know you guys said it was your 2nd year here, but thank you very much for having us, and we appreciate you being interested enough in the community to come out and have questions and to get us all involved and have a forum for us like this.
Robin Jones, this is my first time running for Kenton City Council at large, and I'm doing it because I want to see our city continue to grow. We have a great city, a caring city, and I'm willing to do all the work that it takes to be a part of a great vision moving forward, and I'd appreciate your vote next Tuesday.
Tom Taylor, for council at large. I have been on council before. I will listen to anybody, talking to anybody any questions you have. If I can't answer them, I will get an answer for you. So please vote for me, and hopefully we can continue Kenton going forwards.
Peg Rand, I'm currently a member of Kenton City Council at large. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for your questions. I appreciate everyone that's running here. Good luck to everybody. If anyone ever has any questions for me, please feel free to call me. My phone number's everywhere. I sell real estate for a living. I've been in a lot of communities, worked with a lot of different people. Kenton has wonderful people here. They really do. Wonderful, caring people. I appreciate all of you. Vote on Tuesday.
I'm Patty Reisner, and I'm currently on City Council at large. And I want to say thank you to everybody for coming out. One of the things that years ago, I've lived in this community for 48 years, and I've really grown to love our community. I see the good in people. I see the good things. I'm not one of these ones that thinks that everything is so horrible. Maybe I look at the glass full, but that's the way I believe, and I believe that we've got a lot of good things happening, and so I'd really appreciate your vote. We started something, and I want to see it finished, and my phone number is always available, and I want to be accessible to people, and so thank you very much, and go out and vote.
Let's give them all a hand. I want to recognize the members of Hardin County Talks, the organization that put this together. Rob Radway, he's back here. Liz Aspinwall, who's been our mic pass-around person. Reverend Forster wasn't able to be here this evening and sends his regrets, but he was looking forward to coming, so he's also a part of the committee, so we'll give him a... Michael Hubble, Deborah Chapman. She's our videographer, and the new pastor of Payne Chapel AME Church. I'm saying that again, the new pastor, so we welcome her to Kenton. Sarah Brown, who's unable to be here, but a lot of you know Sarah Brown, who's a longtime person in this community. She's still on. Marilyn Balthrop. Maya Fishoff, our timer up front. And myself, Vanessa Cummings. We want to, again, thank all of the candidates for coming. We want to thank all of you. You all have been actively engaged and involved, and the turnout this year is about 60% more than last year. So this is fantastic. And this is for you. So we want you to know if there are other discussions, other topics, as you all have said, we need to do more of this talking. That's what Hardin County Talks is all about. So if you want to propose meetings or topics that we can discuss, feel free to email us at hardincountytalks@gmail.com. Hardin County Talks, and that way you can propose some different things and we can put things together because we want to keep the community engaged. We want to keep you talking. We want to thank our Facebook attendees. We've had 5 people that have continually watched on the Payne Chapel page, and there may be others, so we're going to say, hey! Thank our viewers for watching on Facebook. We want to thank all of you again for being present. Did I miss something? Oh, yes. Our sound dude back here, John Seaman, who's shrunk down the wall. John does this voluntarily. And you all know if you have to pay somebody to do all this, it's not cheap. He volunteered his services. So we want to thank him for that. And we got, are you live too? You're recording. Okay. I forgot your name. Richard. Yes.
This will be on Kenton TV, KentonTV.com. So I encourage you to tell your friends and neighbors and frenemies and lottie-dottie and everybody, go to KentonTV.com and watch this so that they too can be informed. The best voter is an informed voter. And the bestest voter is the one who goes to the polls and votes. So please go vote. We thank you again for your attendance. Have a safe and blessed evening and take care. Oh, I'm sorry, one big thank you to the Kenton County, Kenton Times over here? Yeah. Yes, Tim Thomas. And we need to thank the Hardin County Sheriff's Department for letting us use this room. They got a standing ovation. If all the candidates will stay together, we want to take a group picture.